A bipartisan group of senators has a bill to update the president's authorization for the use of military force. The AUMF hasn't been updated by Congress since 2002. The push comes after the president's strikes on Syria last week. There was outrage on both sides of the aisle after some lawmakers said the president did not have the congressional approval to attack Assad's forces in Syria. French President Emmanuel Macron and British Prime Minister Theresa May are facing similar complaints. Lawmakers in their countries say that they did not get the proper approval. For more on this, let's turn to former Florida Congressman Alan Grayson. Alan, thank you for being with us tonight. The AUMF, does it make sense to leave it where it is right now and let the president just operate freely like this?
Well, the AUMF doesn't let the president operate freely. It's been stretched beyond any recognition. To say that an AUMF that's directed against al-Qaeda could somehow justify an attack against the Syrian army is absurd.
What should happen at this point? There's been very little debate. Some of the stories we've been running shows tremendous debate that's taking place in the British Parliament, and also Macron defending his position. But it seems here in America, lawmakers have just rolled over.
I think that's fair, and I think that's unfortunate. It would be a very simple matter to hold hearings, to produce legislation, to mark up and amend that legislation, and to give the president whatever authority he may deserve under the actual circumstances here. But Congress just doesn't want to be bothered to deal with details. Now, interestingly enough, there is actually some statutory authority right now for the roughly 3,500 U.S. troops that are in Syria right now who are acting as military advisors. So Congress did bother with that. But they haven't bothered with anything having to do with the gas attacks.
Why has it gone on like this since 2002? Why has Congress not questioned the authority or at least renewed it?
Well, it's simply too easy for Congress to hand over this authority to the president. But we've reached an absurd point in our history where we're treating the president of the United States and the U.S. military as if it were a boy with a toy. We've literally reached the point where a president can seize the authority to do anything to anyone, anywhere, and then see if Congress does anything about it. That's absurd, and it's led to all sorts of tragedies in the past, which is why the War Powers Act was passed in the first place, after, for instance, the secret war in Cambodia.
Does it play this way? Lawmakers don't want to go home to a commercial that might portray them as making a mistake, voting for something that didn't turn out right? What about that?
Oh, my God. Everyone other than Barbara Lee made that mistake regarding the war in Iraq. And nobody was held accountable for that. Nobody. No, it's simply that they don't want to be bothered with it.
John Bolton now throws a monkey wrench into the entire equation. People on the left think that he is, well, basically off the rails. Wouldn't that heighten the intensity for Democrats who recently have certainly question the president's authority, whether it be Bush, Obama, or Trump? Would Bolton change the dynamic at all?
He ought to. You know, some people have accused him of being a lunatic, but the fact remains that there's only two ways to do this. One is called the authorization of the use of military force. The other one is a statute. Both of them require an act of Congress. The Senate has to muster a filibuster-proof majority, which hardly seems to happen at all anymore. And the House would have to put the matter on the agenda when the leadership has never shown an interest in it for the past decade or longer. So, you know, given the awful overwhelming power of inertia, even Bolton may not be able to change things.
Alan Grayson, are you done with Congress? Are you going to run again? People want to know.
Yes, Ed, I'm running again. This won't be the last of Alan Grayson. I'm back.
We like it. Thank you. Alan Grayson, former Congressman.